What's going on, guys? It's Frito here for a huge news roundup. Season 2 launched yesterday, and many players were confused and upset by some of the changes or lack thereof, specifically to the support category, and many were surprised at the rank reset that I think a lot of players forgot about, so much so that Overwatch issued a statement today reminding of the new competitive rules. When a new season begins, they apply rank decay to all roles, and over the course of a season, players should climb back to ranks that represent their true skill level. That being said, all match-made games will still be based on your underlying MMR, ensuring we're making matches as fair as possible. We understand that we need to do a better job making these systems more understandable, and we'll be addressing these issues in other parts of the system in the future. This is why it's not so useful to look at your team or the enemy team's profiles, as the rank indicator isn't their MMR anyway. It's mostly just for you. What was further confusing about this is that your end of season rank may not have represented your visible rank shown before you ended the season, because remember, your rank update happens after 7 wins or 20 losses, but the SR you're at is actually changing. They just don't tell you until that happens. So what they explained here in the blog post is they essentially just cut you off from wherever you were. So if you were on a 19-game losing streak, you're not going to be at the same rank you were showing, and it'll give you a surprise rank update. So if you're like me and were on the brink of probably deranking and thought you were going to dodge it by not completing your 7 wins or 20 losses, well, joke's on you and me. They give you an update anyway. Support players have been upset at the balancing decisions for Season 2, and even more so at the responses of communication about them. In yesterday's video, we covered the Q&A Twitter live stream. Battle Pistol Mercy isn't quite what players were looking to do with the character anyway, but you can fend off quite a few flankers, I think, with this buff. The pistol is no joke, folks. It never has been. But Mercy players feel that's missing the point. Neandra on Twitter says, look, not to be entitled or anything, but I do find it kind of funny that EVA, Skiesti, and I have essentially written multiple essays over the last 8 months about changes that would benefit Mercy, and we ended up with 2 pistol buffs, which is like the least used part of the character. Ana's buff was marginal, a 1-second cooldown, kind of insulting, on her sleep dart, and Kiriko was mostly nerfed, leaving support players wondering, when is Blizzard going to deliver on the changes they had been talking about? They seemed to build them up as if they were coming in Season 2, and then talk about long-term things that are coming in years. I think they're doing a pretty bad job at managing expectations with this, because it was with the previous communication that led us to expect more changes soon. But it seems that they're trying to not be too heavy-handed in this moment, seeing as they were pretty heavy-handed with the DPS passive. With between that and the Kitsune Rush nerfs, playing the game so far in the new season, I'll say it feels a lot slower and easier to manage and track where things are coming from. Also, a lot of people are picking Ramattra, who is a slow tank. Community perception is that support is the weakest non-carry role by far. I'll form my own opinions more concretely, I think, as I grind through my support re-rank again. Regardless of the truth of their power level or potential, the fun of the role has been unequivocally contested, where they are the role that needs to have pristine MOBA positioning, whereas the rest of the game gets to run around playing a hero shooter. And I feel like I'm just seeing more Moira picks out of spite. Whereas in Overwatch 1, the main tank role felt incredibly teamwork reliant. Similar things happen with the Overwatch 2 support cast, where you feel like you have to go out of position to help your team and give them the things they need, but it in turn gets you easily focused. ML7's argument, and Samito has said this for a while as well, advises to get the cooldowns to be more of a frequent occurrence as opposed to one big play that either makes or breaks your life. Suzu, Lamp, Ananade, and Sleep all are on longer cooldowns than their counterparts on other roles, considering that's where the majority of their power is, whereas DPS have a gun that usually does enough damage to get a limbs. And when the game's more about that, it might feel better to have your abilities up more often, but not expect them to make or break the team fight. I don't know how I feel about that. And based on reviewing a lot of gameplay, I don't know if most support players even want that, because a lot of players do pick the role in order to focus on healing their team. On the other side of the coin, Necros isn't happy about the state of Genji now that the DPS passive is removed, but he still retains the nerfs to his damage and ammo. I don't know, guys, who's right? Do supports die too easily, or do we need to buff the things that kill them easily? Somehow I think not everyone can agree on this subject. Speaking of disagreement, opinions on Ramattra have been all over the place. Guru says y'all are wrong about Ramattra. Dude is OP. Boger says, I was in an early playtest, and as a top 10 tank player, I can say without a doubt that Roadhog will still be meta. Yeedle says, Ramattra isn't bad, he's just not as fun as he could be. His Vortex is just a weaker Sojourn, slow, and his ultimate is literally damage rally, which is strong but boring. Nemesis form is fun though, 7 out of 10 fun rating, top 4 on the tank strength tier list in my opinion, which is a lot higher than I think a lot of people would put him, but also I think Yeedle is a special tank player, one of my favorites to watch. Personally, my opinions on Ramattra keep changing. I think I'm better getting an idea of where he does apply, but the truth is unless he's broken, he's kind of designed to be situational, and maybe that's okay. Overwatch League shoutcaster Uber says, I think in a game like Overwatch where you can switch whenever you want, there's less incentive to pick up an all-arounder at any point who would be outclassed by either a pure brawler or a pure poke tank after an opponent switches. Makes more sense in a pick ban game, but still cool to see. I think this echoes the sentiments I've been saying about the character leading up to the release as well, where unless something's broken about him, not only can you switch, but due to the ult retain mechanic, why wouldn't you just switch to the tank that better suits the stage of the map you're on? We'll have more to say on the Ramattra subject in a following video. Whereas a lot of tanks in Overwatch 2 you can kind of just throw in front and not have to think too much about, Ramattra you need to synergize with, I feel, to utilize his kit, because he's not just a insane matchup tank where he outduels lots of things. You got to be more tactical than that. It seems all too common that the new patches break things as they come out. Renowned Hanzo player Argay wasn't so happy to see the animation bug return where a full charge shot causes the bow to flick up above your crosshair, disorienting and causing nausea as if the character wasn't bad enough, but might be a bit better now that the game's a bit slower. I'm withholding judgment on this patch right now, because remember, we've got Ramattra in lockout for a couple weeks. A lot of people rush to talk about the meta that won't matter by the time the hero comes out again. So I do think Season 2 has had quite a lot of significant changes that haven't been fully realized or felt yet. And when that happens, a lot of the old tactics might work just based on familiarity, whereas I feel there might be more tricks that will be learned in the coming days. If you farmed up Overwatch League tokens, you can cash in for some pretty insane skins that are back available in the Overwatch League shop, commemorating different eras of the game, particularly for the star players that played these heroes, something they don't actually do anymore. And last for the video, I wanted to shout out, linked in the description will be a Google form for you guys to submit replays to get reviewed, to make guides and other content on the channel. Send me games to check out, linked in the description. And while you're down there, please be sure to leave the video with a like, and don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to actually get notified when our new videos come out. That's been it for me. I've been Frito for your Overwatch. I'll see you guys next time.